right? Let me say this to you. I understand that. And so when I said I wouldn't speak for you, what I was going to say is often as men, the most articulate man sometimes cannot in the moment articulate what the racing is. It's not an excuse. It just is what it is. Here's what I tell guys though. What you can articulate is the fact that you can't articulate. And trust me, when I listen, folks, when I say this is a process, I'm giving you this advice. And literally today is Thursday. On Sunday, I did not take my own advice. This past Sunday. And it came out in our YouTube show. So we do a YouTube show every Sunday evening. And that was the beginning of the show. There was something going on with me. I told her nothing was wrong. Visibly, it was visible. The only thing I wasn't doing was wearing a sign saying that I'm lying. Because it was visible. But I didn't articulate the fact that, because here's what the thing is. I knew what I was thinking about, but I hadn't processed it in a way that allowed me to feel comfortable with sharing anything because I had no solution. It was just spinning. But that's what I should have said. And then when you say that, here's what you do to ensure that it's taken the right way. Follow that statement up with what you need from the other person. So, for example, what I should have said to her was, listen, I got a lot on my mind because I'll be transparent with you. I got a lot on my mind. It's financial related, but I don't have all the pieces in place. Can you just, and then whatever it is I need from her. For example, you talked about you guys sleeping downstairs, right? So that would look like, babe, my mind is racing. I got a lot happening. I can't really lay out all of the pieces of this. Can we just lay here? That would be helpful for me. I promise when I can put the pieces together, we'll talk about it. That way, Paula doesn't think you're brushing her off. She knows there's something maybe coming down the pipeline. But for the moment, this is the need. Trust me, you got to do that. Like, there's not going to be a time where you don't pull out that piece of strategy. So that's where we are, because there are some things that both of you want. There are some things that both of you need. I was just talking to before you came in about looking at the end result of a thing and then crafting your strategy to that end result, even if the strategy doesn't make sense to you or isn't something that you would normally do. Or listen, let me keep it a buck. Even if it's something you don't really like to do. I give you a real world example from 5 minutes before I turn the camera on tonight. My wife's job is extremely demanding. There are days where her day will start at 7:45, and I will go through all of my sessions way into the evening, and she's still working. It's bananas. So today, she took a little break around 7. This starts at 8, so it was probably 7, about 10 after 7, because she had to run an errand. But dinner hadn't been started either. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get dinner started before this set. I got this session at 8. I was supposed to be in a meeting at 7. I canceled the meeting. I'm like, you know what? I can catch up with those folk next week. It wasn't a session, it was a networking meeting that I was supposed to be in. So you know what? I'm not gonna go to the networking meeting. I'm gonna start dinner. But then when I went to go start dinner, dishes need to be washed. And here's the point I'm making with stuff that you don't like to do. I absolutely hate, and I know that's a strong word, doing the dishes. As childish as that may seem, it's just we are human beings. I hate it with every fiber of my being. But I was like, you know what? When she comes back, I know she's got to go back to work. I don't want her to have to clean the kitchen. I don't want her to have to fix all of the meal. There may be some components of the meal that she may have to fix just because she went to go get them. But all of the rest of it, I'm going to time myself and try to get this done by 7:58 so that I could come down here and turn the camera on. And that's just, it just is what it is, right? And over time, it just becomes a part of how you operate. Because here's the point I'm making. I'm looking at the end game. The end game is that at 10 p.m. or so, when she's done working tonight, I just want her to sit down and relax. I don't want her to have to try to be like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that now. Now I got to do this and do. No, you good. I got you. Because her love language is acts of service. And so when I perform those acts of service, it puts her in a certain mood. So no matter how frustrating her day was, because she doesn't have to clean the kitchen, she's gonna be in a pretty decent mood at 10 p.m. Guess who benefits from that? This guy. So that's the end game. So I had to do all of that stuff that I just told you as part of the strategy to get to the end game, including something that I hate to do. But that's how a team operates. This is what it is. And the sooner you recognize that and put it into practice, the more cloud nine experiences you have. But just as in both of your respective careers, you didn't walk into that job and they just told you, hey, do whatever you feel like doing. There was some standard operating procedures. There's code of conduct. There's whatever your manager may have given you in training. There's a handbook. There's guiding principles. There's whatever you have, right? There's a set of things that have actually been physically mapped out to ensure that what you do from a productivity standpoint aligns with these things we've mapped out. What I'm telling you is that you got to do that for your relationship as well. You have to. Nobody builds without a blueprint. You talking about rebuilding something. Where is the blueprint? Because I know, listen, gets frustrated easily. Ain't gonna let nobody build her a house without no blueprint. That ain't gonna happen. Wants her kitchen to look a certain way. She wants her bathroom to look a certain way. She wants certain floors. So there's got to be a blueprint. You got to do the same thing with your marriage. You got to get out the pen and paper. You got to write down what you're looking for. And how do we get what we're looking for? And how do you contribute? And how do I contribute? So that's your assignment, along with the myriad of assignments that I've given you throughout the last couple.